Hello dear students, today I will discuss part 1 of unit 5, that is chapter 5, surface chemistry. Dear students, as you know that according to the course structure of CBSE board, from unit 1 to unit 5 are allotted 23 marks out of 70 marks. So that's why dear students, after completing this chapter, you will be able to got 23 marks out of 70 marks. Now dear students, let us start the unit 5 surface chemistry. So before studying any chapter, you must have to know about the topic which are given in the syllabus of board examination, and from that topics questions are asking in the board examinations. So let us discuss about the topic, and also I have given you summary of the chapter by explaining the topic briefly. Then I will discuss all the topic in detail by providing some examples related to that topics, so that you can understand the chapter in better possible way. So now let us start to discuss about the topics that are adsorption. As the name of chapter is surface chemistry, and the phenomenon take place at the surface, that's why that phenomenon which take place at the surface is known as adsorption, and hence you can also say the name of chapter is adsorption chemistry. Adsorption is basically two types which you have to know here, that is the physical adsorption and chemical adsorption, that is physisorption or chemisorption. Here the two name indicate about the force of attraction between the adsorbent, that is the surface on which adsorption take place, and the substance which get adsorbed. So that is the physical adsorption have van der Waals force of attraction, no chemical bonds are there. That's why this type of adsorption is known as physical adsorption. Then chemical adsorption, here chemical bond formation take place. That's why the adsorption belong to the chemical adsorption. Then dear students, you have to know about that on which factor adsorption depend. So that is factor affecting adsorption of gases on solid. These factor may be pressure, these factor may be temperature, these factor may be surface area, these factor may be nature of adsorbent and adsorbate. Then dear students, you have to know about the catalysis. As previously I told you some point about the catalyst in the unit 4 chemical kinetics, that is catalyst never used in the chemical reactions, they only provide the surface to carry out the reaction. That's why catalysis is also belong to the surface chemistry, where the reaction take place at the surface. catalysis may be homogeneous and heterogeneous. Here homogeneous means the reactant and catalyst are in same phase, and in heterogeneous means the reactants and catalyst have different phases. Here phases means it may be liquid, may be solid, may be gas. Now dear students, then you have to know about the activity and selectivity of catalyst. Here activity means by using the catalyst you can enhance the rate of reaction. That means the catalyst activate the rate of reaction. That's why these catalysts are known as active catalyst, and the process show their activity. Then selectivity. This topic show that every catalyst is selective for a particular reaction. That is, one catalyst do not catalyze all the chemical reaction. Then you will be able to know about enzyme catalysis. Enzyme is a proteinous substance that also catalyze a number of reactions. So here this is also belong to this chapter. One example of enzymes in our mouth, saliva. This contains ptyalin, that is known as salivary amylase. This help in the breakdown of starch into maltose. So that's why enzymes also catalyze a number of reactions. Then you will be able to know about the colloidal state. Then distinction between true solution, colloidal solution and suspension. Here the basic difference between three is particle size. A particle size is less than 1 nanometer, so this belongs to the true solution. A particle size is more than 1000 nanometer, so this belongs to the suspension. If the particle size is between 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer, so this belongs to the colloidal state. Then lyophilic, lyophobic colloids. As the name indicates, lyophilic, lyo means liquid, philic means loving. That means if the substance is liquid loving, they belong to the lyophilic. Here the adsorbent and adsorbate have interaction between them. That is, simply you can say that if solute and solvent interaction take place, so then this belong to the lyophilic. If this interaction cannot take place or little affinity with the solvent, so by the solute particles, so they belong to the lyophobic. As the phobic means phobia, lyo means liquid, so these substances are water hating, or you can say that liquid hating substance. Then you have to know about the multimoleculars. Here the name indicate multimoleculars. So many molecules are joined each other to make the size ranging in the colloidal range, that is from 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometer. Then macromolecules, as the name indicate macro, that means large molecules. These having the size between 1 nanometer to 1000 nanometers. These macromolecules may be proteins, may be carbohydrates. These are the macromolecules. Then properties of colloids, that is much important for the examination point of view. These properties are Tyndall effect. Tyndall effect is the optical property. Here the scattering of light takes place. That's why this effect is known as Tyndall effect. Then Brownian movement. Here the zigzag motion, that indicate the mechanical property. that means kinetic property. Electrophoresis, this indicate the electrical property. In electrophoresis, basically the movement of colloidal particles having charge take place either at anode or at cathode. Then coagulation, that means formation of PPT. When two oppositely charged liquids are mixed, they get collide. Then most important topic, that is emulsion. Emulsion means here two phases are there, both phases are liquid, that means disperse phase and dispersion medium. Here medium, you can equate the medium with the solvent and the disperse phase with the solute. So that means solute and solvent both are in liquid state. That's why the term used emulsion. A common example is milk. Then you have to know about the type of emulsion, and also you have to know about the application of emulsions and colloids around us. So these are the summary of the chapter which you have to study further in the detail. So now dear students, after studying this part 1, you will be able to describe interfacial phenomenon and its significance. Here interfacial means between two phases. One phase is adsorbed and second phase is adsorbent. Then you will be able to distinguish between absorption and adsorption. Here AB, that means AB indicate the bulk phenomenon and AD belong to the surface phenomenon. So the common difference between the adsorption and absorption is absorption, that is AB, is the bulk phenomenon occur in the whole body, and adsorption is the surface phenomenon occurs only at the surface. Then dear students, you have to define the adsorption and classify it into physical and chemical adsorption. That's I told you. Then explain mechanism of adsorption, how the adsorption take place on the surface. Then you will be able to explain the factor controlling adsorption from gases and solution on solids. That's I also explain you that pressure, temperature and the role of surface area on the process of adsorption. Then dear students, some solved questions based on the above topics are also discussed here. So now dear students, let us start the chapter 5 surface chemistry part 1. So before starting the any topic in the chapter, first of all we have to know about the chapter, that is surface chemistry, how we can define this branch of chemistry. So the branch of chemistry which deals with the study of surface phenomena is called surface chemistry. Here some examples are given which take place on the surface, that the corrosion, the common example is rusting of iron. This I also explained you in the electrochemistry. Crystallization, formation of crystal, dissolution and its solubility, heterogeneous catalysis and electrode process. In electrode process, the transfer of electrons from one electrode to another electrode, that is cathode and anode. This is also belong to the surface chemistry part. About the electrode process, I have discussed you in the electrochemistry. So many properties which belong to this part, that is surface chemistry. So the most common examples you have to keep in the mind, that is rusting of irons, that is corrosion, crystallization, dissolution, heterogeneous catalysis, electrode process. These all process occurs at interface. Then dear students, in surface chemistry we study the phenomenon of adsorption, catalysis and colloidal property. That is the need of chapter. Now dear students, some of the most important chemical are produced industrially by means of reaction that occurs on surface of solid catalyst. One common example is Haber process, where the production of ammonia take place on the iron catalyst. When N2 and H2 gas is passed to the iron catalyst, the formation of ammonia take place. So this type of reactions also used in the industry. That's why this chapter is very important for academic point of view and also for the competition point of view. So now dear students, first of all we have to define what is the adsorption. So again, the accumulation of molecular species at the surface rather than in the bulk of solid or liquid is termed as adsorption. That means the molecular species collected to the surface, not in the bulk. That is the example of adsorption. Now you know that the adsorption take place due to unbalanced attraction force. So the main reason of adsorption is unbalanced attraction forces. Then you have to know about that the molecular species are the substance which concentrate or accumulate at the surface is termed as adsorbate. That means those molecular species which are collected at any surface is known as adsorbate, and the material on whose surface adsorption take place is called adsorbent. That means the surface on which the gas accumulate is known as adsorbent. So two terms came so many times in this chapter, so that's why you have to understand about the term adsorbate or adsorbent. Here adsorbate is the gas which are collected at any surface, and the adsorbent is the surface on which collection of molecular species take place. So that you have to know about that, about the adsorbate and adsorbent. Now dear students, one more thing you have to know that, as you know that the process occurs at surface, that's why adsorption is a surface phenomenon. Now some more point you have to know about the adsorption. The plane which separate any two phase is generally called as an interface or surface between two phase. That means one phase is adsorbate and second phase is adsorbent. Both are immiscible and represented by separating the bulk phase by a hyphen or a slash. So how can you show the adsorbate on adsorbent? For this you have to use hyphen or slash. Their examples are given. So for example, the interface between the solid and a gas may be represented by solid hyphen gas or solid slash gas. So like this you have to represent the adsorbate and adsorbent by giving hyphen or slash which denote the interface. That means the phase, the interface, that is the plane between the two phase. The one phase is adsorbate, the second phase is adsorbent. Both are immiscible. Now some common examples are given here. O2, H2, Cl2, ammonia gases are adsorbed on the surface of charcoal. Second example is given. Silica gel adsorb water molecules from air. So silica gel and charcoal are common adsorbent which come in this chapter so many times. Now one thing you have to know about the charcoal. So the charcoal is that form of carbon obtained by limited supply of air with wood cellulose. Some common examples of charcoal: wood charcoal, sugar charcoal, animal charcoal, coconut charcoal, vegetable charcoal, blood charcoals. So again, the charcoal is a form of carbon obtained by limited supply of air with wood cellulose. Again example: wood charcoal, sugar charcoal, animal charcoal, coconut charcoal, vegetable charcoal, blood charcoal. So these words came so many times in this chapter. Silica gel is obtained by heating a mixture of sodium silicate and 10% HCl at 50 degrees centigrade. So here no need of to explain how the silica gel prepared. Just you have to know about the charcoal work as adsorbent and silica gel also work as a common adsorbent for water molecules from air. Some more thing you have to know about that. Solid in finely divided state have large surface area, hence they can also act as good adsorbent. Some common examples are also given here which work as adsorbent, that is metals in finely divided state: alumina gel, Al2O3, clay and colloids. These are also common examples of adsorbent which show the process of adsorption. Now dear students, here some diagrams are given to better understand about the process of absorption, adsorption, adsorbate, desorption and sorption. So first diagram for absorption, AB, that is the bulk property. So look the diagram. Here no molecular species accumulate on the surface. All the substance in the body of adsorbent. That's why this is known as absorption. So properly focus on the diagram. That is the molecules are, that is denoted by X, that is the molecules are shown in the bulk of the body. That's why this indicates the process of absorption. Now come on the second diagram that indicate adsorbent and adsorbate. Here adsorbate accumulate at the surface of adsorbent, that is clearly shown in the diagram. So this indicate the process of adsorption. Look again, no molecules are seen in the bulk in the body of adsorbent, only the molecules are collected at the surface. So this is the simple example of adsorption. Now some more point you have to know, that is desorption. If the collected molecules on the surface are removed, that is removal of adsorbate take place, so this process is known as desorption. D means, that means removal. Then sorption. Sorptions indicate both adsorption and absorption. That means if both process occurs, that is adsorption and absorption, so this phenomenon is known as sorption. That is clear from the figure. The molecules are collected at the surface and also in the body of the adsorbent. So this indicates the process of sorption. So this term you have to know, that when adsorption and absorption take place simultaneously, so this process is known as sorption. So by looking the diagram, you can better understand about the absorption, adsorption, desorption and sorption. Now dear students, we have to focus about the mechanism of adsorption. So some diagrams are given here to understand the process of adsorption. First diagram given the liquid, second in the solid, and third C show the metal with free valencies. So look the diagram properly. The molecules which are at the surface are experience a net inward force of interaction, but the molecules on the surface of the particles are not surrounded by atoms or molecules of their kind on all sides, that is all direction. That is, surface molecules are unbalanced and hence they possess unbalanced or residual attractive force, that means left attractive force. So look again the diagram A and B. The surface particles which are balanced by inward net force of attraction, but at the surface the molecules are not surrounded by any atoms or molecules. That's why they have unbalanced or residual force of attraction. And these unbalanced force, that is residual force, are responsible for adsorption. Some more thing you have to know about the development of these type of forces. These forces are developed either during the crystallization, that means when the formation of crystal take place of the solid, or the virtue of presence of unpaired electrons in the d orbital, that is the element belong to the d orbitals. Some common examples is nickel, copper, platinum. These also have unpaired electron in the d orbitals. So by this way they also generate the residual force of attraction. So this is the mechanism of adsorption. In simple way you can say that if the surface molecules have unbalanced force of attraction, that's why they want to balance them by adsorbing the particles outside. So this is the mechanism of adsorption. Here the diagram C indicate the free valencies of the nickel. So look again the diagram C. The nickel in the inside force are balanced by the nickel, but their surface force are not balanced. One more thing you have to know that if we divide the nickel into powder form, so how they can increase the surface area. So now look the diagram. The bond between the nickel and nickel also break. So that's why now this show the how many valencies. Look the number of unbalanced force 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this diagram indicates that they have 8 free valencies, but when they are divided, so now they have how many valencies? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And one nickels have 4 free valencies. So now the unbalanced force become how many times? 4 into 4. That means 16 times. So before the breaking they have 8 free valencies, but after the breaking they have 16 unbalanced force. That's why the powder form is more effective in adsorption. Now dear students, you have to know about the important characteristics of adsorption. So first point, it is specific and selective in nature. That means every adsorbent do not work of adsorption for every substance. That's why it is specific and selective in nature. That means one common example you can take. If you want to prepare the ammonia, and use any other catalyst in place of iron, so the production of ammonia will be affected. That's why this indicates that the process of adsorption is specific and selective for a particular reaction. Second, adsorption is a spontaneous process. That means it takes place by itself. This you can be also understand by the thermodynamic point of view. I have told you about that if for spontaneous process the value of delta G should be negative. So now focus here again. Therefore, change in free energy, that is Gibbs energy, is negative. From the equation delta G equal to delta H minus T delta S. Now, as we know that when gas molecules are adsorbed on the surface, the entropy decreases. In that condition, what happens? The T delta S become positive, so that if we want to delta G negative, in that condition delta H should be negative. That indicate that adsorption is a exothermic process. One more examples you can take. When you are running at any place and someone capture you at once, so in that condition you will stop at once. And now what happens with your body? Now your body is warm up. That means you liberate the energy outside. That's also take place here. When any gas molecule pass to the surface unbalanced force capture these gas molecules. Now what happens basically here? The surface energy decreases, that means unbalanced force decreases, which appears as heat. That is, adsorption is the exothermic process. So this you can also find by the delta G equation. Here at the gas adsorbed on the surface, now the entropy decreases, that is randomness decreases, and then the T delta S value should be positive. In that condition, to generate delta G negative, delta H should be negative. So that's why this also indicates that adsorption is the exothermic process. Now causes of adsorption. Again, unbalanced force of attraction or free valencies which is present at the solid or liquid surface have the property to attract and retain the molecules of a gas or a dissolved substance onto their surface with which they come in the contact. So the basic cause of adsorption is unbalanced force of surface. Now some more point you have to know that as the adsorption proceeds, the delta H become less and less negative. That means now all the unbalanced forces are balanced. So that's why the heat liberated in less amount. That means delta H become less and less negative, and ultimately delta H should be equal to T delta S. In that condition, delta G become 0. And this is the state of equilibrium. That means at this condition, you can also say like that the rate of condensation is equal to rate of evaporation. So in this condition, when delta G becomes 0, that is the state of equilibrium occurs. So this is the basic important characteristics of adsorption. This you have to know that. Maybe one question is asking that if for adsorption write the sign of delta H and delta S. So for adsorption the sign of delta H should be negative and for delta S should be positive. One more question maybe arises, dear students. how can you say that a surface phenomenon, that is adsorption, is exothermic process? So by taking the example of unbalanced force, that is when molecules are adsorbed, the unbalanced force are decreases, that is surface energy decreases, which appears as a heat, and that's why the delta S should be negative, and hence this process is always exothermic. This I also told you in the Henry law chapter 2. When the gas molecules are come in the water, that means they form the solution, the heat liberated. So that is also exothermic process. Here this is also a exothermic process. Now dear students, you have to know about the difference between adsorption and absorption. So first written absorption AB and then adsorption AD. So as I have told you that the absorption is the phenomenon by which the substance is uniformly distributed throughout the bulk of the solid. That means absorption is the bulk phenomenon, and adsorption the accumulation of molecular species at the surface rather than in the bulk of a solid or liquid is termed as adsorption, and this is the surface phenomenon. Then you have to differentiate about the absorption and adsorption like this. Absorption proceed at steady rate, that means the process is continue with the same rate, but adsorption, the rate of adsorption is very rapid in the beginning as they have more unbalanced force, but after some time when the unbalanced force are decreases, the process also decreases, that is the rate however decreases gradually until equilibrium is reached, that is delta G should be 0. Now some examples are given here. Now first of all we have to note the example of absorption. Water vapors absorbed by anhydrous calcium chloride. That means the space between the calcium chloride, now the water molecules get inserted. So this is the common example of absorption. One more example. You can think about, you are taking the chalk and insert the chalk into the ink. Now after some time when you break the chalk, what you seen that is the surface part of chalk adsorb ink and the water molecules insert into the inner part of the chalk. That is, inner part of the chalk is moist by water and the outer part of the chalk is adsorbed by the ink. So this indicates that the water molecules is the example of adsorption, and the ink molecules which get adsorbed on the surface of chalk is the example of adsorption. One more examples for the adsorption, that is AD. Water molecules, that is water vapors, adsorbed by silica gel. The silica gel is a common adsorbent. I told you that when silica gel is kept and water adsorbed, so this is the process of adsorption. So these are the basic difference between the adsorption and adsorption, which you have to know that. Now dear students, look the diagram again to better understand about the adsorbent and adsorbate, and also the process adsorption and absorption. So first diagram indicate the process of absorption. Look properly. The large sphere indicate the adsorbent. Here the adsorbent is charcoal atoms, and a small sphere, that is the gas molecules, indicate the adsorbate. So now the adsorbate are only present at the surface. That's why this process indicates adsorption. Now, dear students, look the diagram B. Here no molecules are accumulated at the surface, only seen in the voids between the adsorbent molecule. That voids is known as interstitial sites also. So this is the example of absorption. Now, two more figures given below to indicate properly again the process of adsorption and absorption. So figure A indicate the absorption. Here the water molecules are only accumulate on the surface of silica gel. But in diagram B, absorption of water molecules by anhydrous calcium chloride. Here no surface molecules are seen here. The molecules are only seen in the bulka, that in body of the adsorbent. So that's why this is the absorption. So this is the basic difference. Dear students, only you have to know for the examination point of view that what the common difference between the adsorbent and adsorption and absorption. And also you have to know about the adsorbent and adsorbate. In this board examination, one question arises about the adsorption. Now, classification of adsorption. So, on the basis of interaction between adsorbent and adsorbate, the adsorption are of two types. One is physical adsorption, also known as physisorption, and second is chemical adsorption, also known as chemisorption. So now about the physical adsorption, weak van der Waals force interaction involved between the adsorbate and adsorbent. Just take example of duster. When we rub the chalk from the blackboard by the duster, so this is the common example of physical adsorption. Now second, chemical adsorption or chemisorption, dear students. When chemical bond, this bond may be covalent or ionic involved, formed between adsorbent and adsorbent, result into the formation of surface compound, and that indicate the chemical adsorption. One common examples you have listened so many times, that is Haber process. When N2 and H2 gas is passed to the surface, both gas adsorb on the surface. Now they combine each other to generate ammonia by the chemical adsorption. Now some point of difference between the physical adsorption and chemical adsorption are given here. Again, physical adsorption is also known as van der Waals adsorption, and chemisorption is also known as Langmuir adsorption. This is given by scientist Langmuir. So now first point of difference, it arises because of van der Waals force of attraction, that is known as physisorption. If it is caused by chemical bond, that is ionic bond or covalent bond, so this is known as chemisorption. Then it is not specific in nature, but chemisorption is highly specific in nature. That means duster can rub the ink also and also rub the chalk. So that's why this is not specific. But formation of ammonia take place in the presence of iron in the Haber process. So that's why this is highly specific in nature. Then third point of difference, it is reversible in nature. That means just again think about the duster and chalk. If chalk particles are stick to the duster, if we apply the force, so these particles are removed. So that's why this is the reversible process. But chemisorption is irreversible process. That means the reactant cannot be changed into the product by moving to the same surface, and product cannot be changed into the reactant by moving to the same surface. Then about the enthalpy of adsorption. As physical adsorption involves the van der Waals force of attraction, so that's why enthalpy of adsorption is low, that is about 20 to 40 kilojoule per mole in this case. But for chemisorption, the enthalpy of adsorption is high because they involve chemical bonding. This may be 80 to 240 kilojoule per mole in this case. Now one more point of difference. Low temperature is favorable for adsorption, as I told you that this is the exothermic process, so that's why low temperature is required. It decreases with increase of temperature. But for chemisorption, high temperature is favorable for adsorption. It first increases and then decreases by increasing the temperature, because they require some activation energy, for which we have to give the heat so that the chemical bond formation take place. So that's why in starting point the temperature increases the rate of reaction, that is adsorption, but after some time on increasing the temperature, chemisorption also decreases. Some more point of difference about the physisorption. It is basically multimolecular. Here the multimolecular layers are formed, but in chemisorption it results into unimolecular layer. So one question arises in the board examination 2020 to differentiate between the physisorption and chemisorption by giving the 2 point of difference. So you can use any point of difference out of these point of difference to differentiate between the physical adsorption and chemical adsorption. Now the student look the diagram. Here x by m, x is the mass of adsorbate and m is the mass of adsorbent given with the temperature when the pressure is constant. To learn about the class 11 gas state, when the pressure is constant, the graph is known as isobar. So here this graph is also known as isobar because the pressure is constant. So now look the diagram first, that indicate the physical adsorption. When the temperature increases, the adsorption decreases. But in chemical adsorption, in starting when temperature increases, the process of adsorption increases, but after some time increase the temperature, decrease the process of adsorption. This indicates that the chemisorption required some amount of heat to activate the molecules. So these two diagrams are known as adsorption isobar. So note here the relationship between extent of adsorption, that is x by m, and temperature at any constant pressure is called adsorption isobar. So maybe this graph are given to you and ask the differentiate between two graphs. The first graph where the extent of adsorption decreases with increase in temperature indicate the physisorption, that is physical adsorption, and the second graph in which the extent of adsorption first increases and then decreases is denote the chemical adsorption. Now dear students, some more important points you have to know about the process of adsorption, that is factor affecting the adsorption. So first factor, that is surface area or specific area. So surface area, how the adsorption process depend upon the surface area. Ki more the surface area, more will be the unbalanced force. So that's why adsorption increases with increases of surface area of adsorbent. Due to this property, powdered charcoal is used in the gas mask. So in this time, you know that we are facing the problem of COVID-19 and we are using the mask. So these masks also contains the powdered charcoal which can absorb the poisonous gases. So again dear students, you have to know about the specific area. तो specific area of an adsorbent is the surface area available for adsorption per gram of adsorbent. Again listen, the specific area of an adsorbent is the surface area available for adsorption per gram of adsorbent. So that is, more the surface area, more will be the process of adsorption. So that's why if one question is asking to you, if you given the coal and powder coal, that means coal in the powder form, so which burn fastly? So your answer will be the powdered coal. Reason, they have more unbalanced force, that is more surface area. That I also told you by taking the example of nickel. In that diagram, nickel have 8 unbalanced force, but when you make them in powder form, so now the unbalanced force is equal to 16, that is free valency. That's why more the unbalanced force, more will be the process of adsorption. So only you have to know about that, कि more the surface area, more will be the process of adsorption, either physical or chemical. So this is the one point of similarity between the chemical and physisorption, that both depend upon the surface area. Now second factor, nature of adsorbate. That's you can also learn. Easily liquefiable gases such as ammonia, methane, HCl, CO, etc. are adsorbed more than permanent gas like N2, N2, O2, H2, etc. So now you can also learn this. If ammonia and SO2 is given, and one question is arises, out of ammonia and SO2, which easily liquefy or easily adsorb on the surface. So just recall about the chemical bonding. Ammonia is polar molecules, SO2 is also polar molecules, but out of them SO2 is more polar. So that's why more the polarity, more will be the force of attraction A according to van der Waals force of attraction. And van der Waals gas equation is given also. In van der Waals equation, A and B are constant came. A indicate the force of attraction. So that's why more the force of attraction, more will be the critical temperature, and more will be the process of adsorption. So that's why those gases which have more critical temperature can be easily adsorbed on the surface, and they also have more attractive force according to van der Waals equation, gas equation. So look, some gases are given here and their critical temperature also given. H2, their critical temperature 33, N2 126, CO 134, CH4 190, CO2 304, HCl 324, ammonia 406 and SO2 630. So more the critical temperature, more will be the adsorption and more easily the gas liquefy. So this is also depend upon the nature of adsorbate. Now dear students, temperature. Low temperature favorable for physical adsorption and high temperature for chemisorption. As I have told you that adsorption is an exothermic process involving the equilibrium. So here some points are given here. The gas that is adsorbed plus solid adsorbent. When this process takes place, that is gas adsorb on the solid, you can also write like this: gas oblique, that is slash solid, or gas hyphen solid plus heat, that is heat is liberated. So this indicates that the process is exothermic, here heat is liberated. So now applying the Le-Chatelier principle, according to Le-Chatelier principle, increase of temperature decrease the process of adsorption and vice versa. So that's why, as the heat indicated from the product side, that means heat is evolved from the reactions. If you apply the more temperature, the reaction goes to the backward direction. That means the adsorption process decreases. So this properly indicates the role of temperature in the adsorption. Now dear students, about the pressure. Pressure increases, adsorption increases at the constant temperature. But after some time, all the unbalanced forces are balanced. So that pressure is known as saturation pressure. So look the diagram to understand the role of pressure. Extent of adsorption versus pressure. Extent of adsorption means x by m. So initially the pressure, when you apply the pressure, the adsorption increases rapidly at the beginning, but after some time the adsorption tend to reach limiting value, and then now the surface are saturated. That means all the unbalanced forces are balanced. So that's why the role of pressure in starting increase the adsorption process, but after some time there is no role of pressure can be seen here. Now dear students, here some solved examples and the above topics are given. So now question number 1. So first of all, listen the PPT video properly and then try to understand the questions and their answers. So now question number 1. What is the effect of temperature and the adsorption? So again, adsorption decreases as the heat liberated in the process of adsorption, that is adsorption is exothermic process. So this is the answer that like this. The adsorption process being exothermic decreases with increase in temperature. Then second question, when the finely powdered active carbon is stirred into a solution of a dye, the intensity of color in solution decreases. Why? So again here finely powdered active carbon, that is charcoal, means more free valencies, that is more unbalanced force, and that's why more process of adsorption take place. So that is the main reason when the intensity of the color in the solution decreases. So the answer, the intensity of the color in the solution decreases because gas adsorb on the surface of the carbon, because the carbon have more unbalanced force. Now third answer, why do finely divided substance have large adsorption power? Again here, the finely divided means powder form have more large surface area. That's why for adsorption, that's why they have large absorption power. That means again more the surface area, more will be the free valencies or unbalanced force, and more will be the power of adsorption. Fourth question, here a small amount of silica gel. I have told about the silica gel. Silica gel do the process of adsorption, and that of anhydrous CaCl2 are placed separately. Anhydrous CaCl2 means the CaCl2 containing no water molecule. Now CaCl2 work at the process of absorption AB in the two corners of a vessel containing water vapors. What phenomenon will occur in the two corners? So again, silica gel work at the process of adsorption and CaCl2 work at the process of absorption. So like this you can write the answer of this question. Now question number 5. What is meant by critical temperature of gas? So again here you have to know about the critical temperature. So the critical temperature is the minimum temperature above which a gas cannot be liquefied. However, the high pressure may be applied. For example, as you know that the critical temperature of ammonia is 406. Above this temperature, that means 408, 409, ammonia cannot be liquefied. How many pressures you can apply? So this temperature at which the ammonia gas or any gas can be liquefied is known as critical temperature. Now dear students, again listen the part 1 of surface chemistry properly, make a proper note in your classwork copy. Stay healthy, stay safe and keep learning, and also do the question answer from NCERT related to the taught topic. Thank you dear students.